want more. Crime babies looking for food, starvation, the recipe, people subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day and every clue. Don't let it go, it's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 rows to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like the lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those.
What's up with this? This supposed to be Tulsi. Nah, this supposed to be Maxwell. I mean, they look I wish it was her also. But this is supposed to be Ghislaine Maxwell, coming in for her oversight committee, going back into the prison. I don't know how much of this they're really going to show, but it's worth just checking it out for a second before we get into it. Okay, there's the van right there. There's the car. Yeah. Then it goes there. Now let me see if I can get some sort of a closer view of this. Let's see. Can y'all see that? Let's see if we can get it closer. She must be in one of these vehicles. Is this her right there coming out of it? I believe they said there was some files that she returned with also. Is that her? Yeah, that's her right there. See? There you go. Is she in chains? Yep, she's in chains. She's in chains. There she is right there. Let's see here. Let's see if we can get this a little bigger just for everybody here. Can we do that? Where is it at? Right here? Yeah, okay. Let's see if we can get this a little bigger. I think we can. Here we go. Yeah, this is supposed to be her. This is her right there, essentially doing what it do. Going inside of prison. Seeing what it's like. This is the person that all of these young women, they were young. She's much older than them. She was a kid they were kids when she was an adult, well into adulthood. And all these women came out and said that she lured them into some sort of slavery sex thing, essentially for espionage, for blackmail. Report back, tell Jeffrey Epstein what had been said, if anything, what had been learned, if anything. And this is the woman, one of the culprits that was helping Jeffrey Epstein. Now, on this level, help, I don't know what help really means. When you're up on this level and you're playing such an active role, I don't think that's just called help. I think that's called co-conspiracy. Like, she's one of the main co-conspirators. She wasn't a person that participated, here and there and committed crimes. No, she's a person that was a part of pretty much most of it, for years and years, for decades. She wants out of jail now. She would like to get out of jail, a get home free card. And yes, that's what she's looking for. And Trump has some options. Trump can't, because he's holding all the dice. Trump is holding all the dice. He's got the Congress under his control. He's got the Senate. He's got the Supreme Court. Right? He's got the Justice Department. He's got the FBI. He's got the White House. The whole machine about to let her off, essentially. About to let this one out of jail. This is the only one that ever saw a day in jail because of those crimes, to possibly hundreds, if not more. Right? Young girls. She's the only one that's seen a day of a prison. Only one day. Nothing else. And yeah. So enjoy. This is all you're going to get a chance to see. You're not going to see any more. There's definitely, you're never going to see Trump in there. You are never going to see Trump in there, because you're not part of the upper class. You're not a part of that elite. You see, you will be getting in here. Anybody under her is going to be in jail. Or could be in jail. She's just, I don't even believe she's there. That was almost pure luck, given the fact of how many folks don't want these Epstein files to get out and how many people are implicated because of the decades, right? Unchecked, right? Unabated, luck in the judicial system, luck on the Supreme Court, luck in the Congress, luck in the Senate. You see what I mean? Like, bye-bye, Ghislaine, bye-bye. Get back in there. Let's hope you stay alive. Let's hope you live long enough to testify. Although, in her situation, there's a lot of heat on her, but I wouldn't be surprised if she comes up missing. I wouldn't be surprised if she comes up missing too. Just flat out. What would be different for that when it comes to anyone else? There was Jean-Luc in Paris. They say he hung himself suicide. Jeffrey Epstein, they say he hung himself suicide. Who's to say she ain't going to do the same? After all, she won't have to, she could go out in this little narcissistic blaze where she can say, I was about to prove my innocence, but then I got so tired. I just committed suicide, y'all, and leave the world with that. Then we will do what? Go back to the Epstein files, So to me, I don't see where this is going. She can say whatever she wants at this point. Is way too late. And it's way too late and too little, basically. Too late and too little. Yeah, it won't do. It doesn't pass the smell test, essentially. But if you're just looking for a way to, save your image, maybe that's a possibility for her. She might be able to, in a little bit, cast some doubt, say, make it all go away, say it was all a travesty, it was a judicial witch hunt, it was this and that, protect whoever she wants to protect, or, yeah. And Trump, same thing for Trump. I mean, this ain't going away for Trump. To me, it seems like he's just going out over image. That the image is what matters to Trump. He will take this to the end. It doesn't matter what you have on him. That's what he does for a living. That is what constitutes Trump. He's not admitting a damn thing. Okay, he's going to go out and he's going to pull whatever lever he has the power to pull. And one of those levers one of the main ones is the pardon. Who knows? I see the pardon as being more than anything else, commuting, because that involves other people. And then you got to worry about people's ethics. Maybe everybody's ethics isn't so corrupt in that process. Maybe also in in any other thing, you would need other people. And then there's an ethics game. There's a proper game. How are we going to do this properly so that the American people don't chase us down also? But when you're dealing with Trump, he doesn't really have to worry about that because he's an old man. I mean, what you going to do to him? What are you going to do to him? How are you going to get anything from Trump? He's about to die. He's old. The man is old. The man is old. He has succeeded in his mission. He has been allowed to evade all of justice, essentially, or allegedly justice, right? He's been allowed to allegedly evade all of these crimes. And some crimes are not even alleged, right? But he's been given a pass just to become the president again. So he was already old as hell when he got that pass. So this is the way it gets done, you know? He doesn't care what you think about him. Trump's family doesn't care what you think about him. They care about the money, baby, the honey. And they got that. And they're raking it in every single day. MAGA Mike is like, the president of the White House just needs a little more time. Let's go on vacation, y'all. Hey, perfect for him. He get to use that time to hide more money. Hide more money. Thank you for giving me this time. I appreciate you. Slave, essentially. Look at this. She's getting in there. Yep. Get down them stairs. I don't think she's going to make it. I don't think she's going to make it. Yeah, I don't think she's going to make it. You know. But one of them is definitely going to go. I think Trump, Maxwell, you know, if Maxwell is alive, Trump's got to give the pardon and escape. I mean, if she mysteriously disappears, I don't think he would do anything about that, because he could give her a pardon. It's just going to make him look more weird. You know, it's going to make people question things. But then again, the MAGA people will just create another conspiracy theory for why that's not Trump who did it. So let's just face it. Trump ain't going to jail for nothing. Trump's going to get away with it. He and his family and their money, they're going to be way long out of the country. Way before you get to do a damn thing about it. You know, straight up. That's just how it's going to go down. He's probably going to get old and die. But look, the thing is, what's going to happen after that? You know, while they're doing this and everybody's looking over here, looking to see what they're going to do legally, according to the law, according to the Constitution, the experts, the constitutional experts, the lawyers, they're all looking here, and they got the game plan. They got the strategy, just like a football game. You see what I mean? Just like Sunday night with the lawyers, Sunday night football, right? The commentators, right? They're all there, right? But are they talking about JD Vance? Because somebody's got to take this dude's place, like flat out. He is not going to last long. There's no way Trump is going to last long. And there must be a plan for somebody else to take over. There must be a plan. But let me just let this roll a little bit. I like to see this. I don't mind seeing this. This looks pretty cool. See her getting in jail. Go ahead, girl. Get your butt in there. See you later. Carry them files. Now, what files? What files was she carrying? That's interesting. Let me see something. What files? She's picking those files up, right? She's picking those files up. Okay, so she's there. She got her files. There's the files. Everybody got them, right? There's the files. She's holding them. That's a lot of files. Goddamn. That's a whole lot of files. Who's going through those files? Who? Yeah, I guess they would go through it, but there's a attorney-client privilege, obviously. So yeah, who can do with that? Who can get around attorney-client privilege? Can the Justice Department get around that? You know, hey, I don't know, but she got a whole lot of files. You know, for what? She's going home. She got a good chance of going home, like straight up. She has a very good chance of going home. And in this case, between her and Trump, they're both narcissists, but she got the leg up on him because he is looking for his ego to be cleared, his image, his self-image. He's really begging for that. Nothing else matters. So if he can get one person there as outrageous as it is, the natural co-conspirator, right, to say it wasn't him or they made it up, he will go for that. And a lot of American citizens will go for it too. And I think that's really what this is ultimately about. What will American citizens go for? What will they believe? You know, what will they believe? And then even if they do believe that he did it, even if they do believe, right? Even if they do believe, that's the door she just walked through into prison. Even if they do believe, so what? You know, so what? So what if you believe that he did something or didn't believe? Even if you believe he did something, you ain't going to do nothing about it. Yeah. Even if you didn't believe, what are you going to do about it, essentially? So, I don't know what to say about this. This is not looking good. That's for damn sure. I really do hope that folks, oh, did I get the wrong one? I really do hope that, that folks get a chance to, have some sort of understanding about what happened. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to what do American people, you know, what are they used to getting? What are you used to getting? And if you're used to getting a nothing burger, then you're probably going to get a nothing burger here too. And I hate to say it, but I really do think that's more plausible than anything else. The justice thing is not necessarily plausible, especially in a country where people don't trust their government. Don't trust the powers that be, right? They don't really. They don't trust the powers that be. And, that leaves room for people to continue the discussion, you know, take it back to another conspiracy theory, basically. You know, it's going to leave people plenty of room. So I just, I don't have a lot of, y'all could tell I don't have a lot of faith in the process, you could say. I think the process for me has been, it's just been, you know, things have been shown too many times to not work in terms of the processes. But let's hear what the lawyer got to say.
It's not going to be driven by public sentiment.
Randy, I think we should start by considering the timing of this. Can we read anything into why the DOJ is interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell, has interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell while she's serving time? Why now?
Well, certainly there has been a lot of focus and a lot of attention paid to Jeffrey Epstein of late. And as a result of Jeffrey Epstein being dead, the person in the next best position to know what Jeffrey Epstein did and who he did it with would be Ms. Maxwell. So she is a logical choice to be spoken to.
In terms of what we can expect to learn at this point,
logical,
her
illogical.
own lawyer said she answered every question honestly and to the best of her ability. But should we not bear in mind that she is serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking and other crimes at this prison in Florida?
Should we
How
not?
credible does this make her?
Well, it's difficult to answer that question because while Mr. Marcus indicated that Ms. Maxwell answered every question, invoked no privilege, never declined to answer a question, what we don't know is what she was asked. We don't know if she was asked questions about other people that she could cooperate against, because she's got two ways to get home. One way to get home is that if she helps the United States government prosecute someone else or prosecute other people, at that point, in exchange for her cooperation, the government would go back to the judge that sentenced her.
Because now, within the last week, they just figured out it's all a hoax. Like, what could she say that's going to turn everything else that both the Trump administration information they did, their own investigations, and Biden's administration, what could she say that could work with, with all that other evidence? What could she say? I mean, what do we need her to say that's not all? I mean, you could corroborate it, but I mean, how are you going to know the difference between who she's telling the truth about and who she's not? How are you going to know that? Of course, you would have to match that up with some kind of corroboration, corroboration or through the information, right? You would have to corroborate it. But can you, if she's prepared for that? I mean, I myself just say this, when it comes to this kind of stuff, again, you got so many witnesses. All these witnesses have been coming out for years. I mean, it just seems such a stretch now for them to be concerned about what her truth. They're not concerned about the witnesses' truths. Think about how many witnesses outed people. They outed Trump. The witness said Trump came and told her she was instructed as a teenager, like 12 or 13 years old, 14 maybe at most, instructed to go and grab on and give him a hand job. That's already out there. Then he knocked her hand away and said, put on a glove first, right? I mean, what is it she's going to say to take him out of that? What is she going to say to take him out of the records? Why does it come down to what somebody says? Why don't we just take a look at the Epstein files? Why not do that and then call her while she's in jail? She can wait in jail. She's been convicted. She's not running anywhere while she's in jail. You see? But instead, they're racing to get her out of jail. Once she's out of jail, she don't have to talk no more. So it's obviously a reversal of what would be logical, right? A reversal from what would happen to you if you were in that same situation. You would not be getting out of jail before they review all those files, because you would be a damn fool to do that. That's the opposite of investigating. No, they hold you until they finish reviewing all the information and files. Then they come back to you. She's already gone through that process. She didn't talk the first time. What else is they going to say? I believe she actually, as a matter of fact, let me just dig something up real quick. I believe, if I'm right here, let me see here. I think she pleaded the fifth. Did Maxwell plead the fifth? The fifth in her federal trial. I think she pleaded the damn fifth. I don't even know if she took the stand. Let me see here. At her 2021 federal sex trial, she chose not to testify. I mean, she chose not to testify.
At her 2021 federal sex trafficking trial in New York, Ghislaine Maxwell chose not to testify in her own defense and therefore did not invoke the Fifth Amendment. She simply declined to take the stand after her lawyers rested their case. Cite, turn search, 7 scene. Recently, in a 6-hour meeting with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche on July 24, 2025, Maxwell spoke with DOJ officials and, according to her attorney, answered every question and never invoked the Fifth Amendment, cite turn News 10, turn News 11.
Why is that?
So to clarify, at her criminal trial she did not testify and did not plead the Fifth. In her post-trial DOJ interview, she cooperated fully and again did not plead the Fifth.
So
if you'd like more detail on what she said, okay. Her upcoming deposition before Congress on August 11th.
So she didn't plead the Fifth, right? She didn't plead the Fifth either time, but she chose not to testify on her own behalf in her own federal indictment, the one that she's convicted of. And now that she's been convicted, she wants to talk to get some time cut off from her, from her sentence. Does that sound like a helpful witness? Is that a helpful witness? I mean, what do you think? You tell me. I don't believe that's a helpful witness at all. I believe that's a conspirator, a person who is manipulating out to manipulate the system and manipulate everything, manipulate justice, period. Just like Trump has manipulated justice before, pretty much, to get out of paying any, any fines, to get out of being convicted, being out of taking accountability for what you've done. Basically they're about to let her ass walk too. And I think, we really got to start asking ourselves, where is the justice? Where's the justice so far? Where's it at? Where's the justice? Taxes. You're going to pay them taxes though, but it really doesn't look like there's going to be any justice. Those young girls that testified, those young girls that gave those depositions, those young girls' stories, what they said, it doesn't matter to the elite. It doesn't matter to those ones on those 88. No, it doesn't matter to them. They can basically get away with anything, and you can't do nothing about it right now. You can't do nothing. It's too many corrupt individuals. Congress, Supreme Court, Senate. That's what this is about. Corruption rules in the United States of America, and justice does not rule. It's not ruling at all. It's not ruling at all. But let's hear some more.
And say, hey, Judge, Ghislaine Maxwell helped us out. She cooperated. She provided what we call substantial assistance. She's allowing the government to prosecute other people. Accordingly, please resentence her. So we don't know if the questions that were put to her were to get answers to help the government prosecute other people. We don't know if the questions put to her concerned President Trump. And were the questions put to her designed to help the Department of Justice determine whether or not the stories that are being told about Donald Trump are in fact false. And if the information provided by Ms. Maxwell would confirm that the stories being told about President Trump are false.
That's what they want to know. They just want to know from her, from one person. All those witnesses, is what they're saying false? That's what they want to know. Is it false about President Trump? I mean, this is your tax dollars. You're basically, if you go along with this, if you agree with this, you're basically saying they could do this to your kid too. And hey, fuck it, fuck justice for my kid. That's basically what you're saying, is because these were kids that they did these crimes to. These are kids. These are children being trafficked by wealthy folk, by billionaires. Well, at least people are spelling it out. At least people are spelling it out.
Another path by which Ghislaine Maxwell might be able to get home, because in exchange for satisfying the American public that President Trump has done nothing.
Is this satisfying them? Would that's what it comes down to. Would this satisfy the American public? Raise your hand if you think it would satisfy you. Let's go on record. Let's see who this would satisfy. Because it's got to be the same for you and your family. Your kids, when your kid's ass is on the line, it's got to be the same for you. Would it satisfy you for it? Because that's what we're talking about, kids. Who's gonna take accountability for what happened to those kids? And are you gonna ignore what those kids said? Are you gonna ignore what those women said happened to them when they were children? That's what you're going to do. They're not rich. They're not wealthy. They say they're being trafficked, and you're gonna listen to the person that they say trafficked them.
And in exchange for satisfying President Trump so he can announce to the world, see, it's the left media, it's the crazy people out there, it's the Democrats trying to wreck me. I did nothing wrong. Ghislaine Maxwell is in the next best position to confirm that. In exchange for that, Ghislaine Maxwell could get home by way of a pardon or by way of her sentence.
Now, it's some folks out there saying it ain't gonna happen with a pardon. I think this lawyer, for at least giving his view on it, why wouldn't it be a pardon? Why wouldn't it be a pardon? If that's your way out, why would you think Trump wouldn't use it? I don't get that. Sometimes I think people get too caught up in some of the smaller details. I don't give a damn if it's a commutation, a pardon, or whatever it is. The point is why they would give it. That's the point. If they let her off in any way, if they let her off, let her get out of jail, cut time off of her sentence, or pardon her, it's all for the same reason.
It's being commuted.
It's fascinating, Randy, and forgive me if this is a stupid question, but all of that assumes Ghislaine Maxwell is motivated by getting home. In your experience, is every criminal keen to get home?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to get home. In fact, in this country, there have been fascinating studies that have been done to address what we call false confessions. It is amazing what someone will say if he or she believes that he or she can go home. And there have been demonstrated instances where people have given false confessions because they were led to believe by a detective or by a police officer or by a special agent, just tell me what I need to know and you can go home. And sometimes that means I'll lie and tell you something that I didn't do because I believe that if I tell you what you want to hear, you will let me go home. So certainly Ghislaine Maxwell wants to go home, but that doesn't mean that she's not telling the truth. And it doesn't mean that she is not credible.
Yeah. It does mean that she's pretty much, at this point, if you ask me, she's not credible at this point because she didn't do anything to help anyone. She's only helping because it's a possibility to save her ass. And that, by definition, means it's not really credible. Come on. She could have done this before. She chose to not testify in her own conviction. How clearer could it be? So the time for you to speak out would be in your own criminal case. The time for you to speak your piece, it wouldn't be after you're convicted. That doesn't make any sense at all. That doesn't make any sense at all. And also, I'm just curious, like, how do rapists, people that have been convicted of rape, or how do they deal with this kind of stuff in the prison when it comes to rapists? If somebody is charged with rape, somebody's charged with molestation, somebody's charged with sex crimes, and they go to jail, like pimping, things like this, and they go to jail, violating little girls, minors, and they go to jail. Do the prisoners see them when they don't even speak out on their own behalf to defend themselves in their own criminal case? Do they see that as that person's a good person? That person doesn't go after kids? Or do they see that as a clear sign that, jail or not, plenty of people go to jail when they're convicted. Plenty of people do. And it's a lot of people that go to jail for false accusations. But when you don't take the stand in your own defense, that's damning in itself. The very least you could do is defend yourself from accusations like this. These are the worst accusations on earth, and you don't go and defend yourself? How is that credible? And see, this is what I was saying. Folks need to not worry about the law and how the law plays out all the time, because the lawyers will explain stuff that is actually foul and wrong. It's just foul. It's foul. I could see that, because a lawyer's job is to explain how it's going to be, not what's right, not what's wrong. They don't always approach it on claiming to know what happened. No, a lot of them distance themselves from claiming to know, but just for the sake of the process of the law. But if a person who did something, heinous crimes like this, gets defended by someone who's just doing it as a part of a process of law, and they get away with it and walk scot-free, where is the law in it? Where's the justice? Where's the justice in it? So to me, I don't know. I think they go a little far. But in any case, let me just hear a couple more seconds on the last question, then I'm going to flip to Tulsi Gabbard.
I noted comments from Maxwell's brother Ian, who told the New York Post that Ghislaine had been preparing new evidence before her meeting with officials from the Justice Department. Here's the quote: "She'll be putting before a court," he suggests, material new evidence that was not available to the defence at her trial in 2021, which would have had a significant impact on its outcome. Now, in the hypothetical that she does have new evidence, why wouldn't that have been used in her trial a couple of years ago? Why would it be new now?
Well, I must tell you that I spoke earlier of two paths that Ghislaine Maxwell can go home. The third path is if her conviction were overturned. Then at that point, there would be a conversation as to whether...
And you would need to hear the new evidence, but she don't want to go that path.
...whether or not she should be granted bond.
She's not going to do the normal path that normal people, criminals, and people charged with things have to do. Not that path. She's going to get the special privilege pass.
Granted bail so she could be released, ostensibly to prepare for another trial. I'm not so sure how solid that pathway is, and quite frankly, I don't think that that is a path that she needs to go down. If she can get home through cooperation, if she can get home through a pardon or through her sentence being commuted, why would she put herself in a position where on her best day, all she would be getting is a new trial?
Exactly. Well, one reason why she might want to go that regular folk route is because, that would be if nobody in high places wasn't looking out for her. Then that would be what she would have to do. She would have to be normal and go about it like everybody else. But in this case, people in high places are looking out for her. So she gets special privileges, not just one special option, two. She might have, you already heard, she has two very special privileged options. I mean, how special is it to be able to get a pardon, even to be considered for a pardon by the President of the United States? That's about as special as it gets. Then to have the DOJ, his own administration, that very same president's administration, running around, scuffling, scraping and scratching, to find a way to get you off for the same things they already arrested you for early in the last administration. I mean, in the previous Trump administration. This time it's the opposite. We got to fight to let them off, yo. We got to fight to get this lady off. We didn't fight to get Epstein off. Take note of that. So I wonder what that's about. Trump did not fight to get Epstein off, but he's fighting to get Ghislaine off. Okay.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that's not a path that we see Ghislaine Maxwell looking to go down. I don't believe she's interested in getting a new trial. I think she is interested in putting this behind her. Now, what's interesting about what her brother has to say, since she's already been sentenced, and since it's been more than a year since her sentencing, the rules are specific in terms of what a judge can and can't do in terms of resentencing. And one of the things that a judge will be looking for is, hey, wait a minute. Why didn't you do this within the year of you being sentenced? So that's where the new evidence might come in handy, where Ghislaine Maxwell would say, well, hey, judge, this new evidence wasn't available to me back then. Or she might say, hey, judge, the government wasn't interested in hearing what I had to say back then, but the government is interested now. And as soon as they told me they were interested, I provided the information.
And just a final one for you, Randy. What obligation is there on the Department of Justice at this moment to satisfy people one way or the other? It feels like the temperature on this has been dialed up in the last few days. People are searching for answers, and it strikes me that there is a real chance, actually, that whatever the outcome of this latest chapter, that at least some people are going to feel that they've not got the full story one way or the other. The Department of Justice has quite a burden, actually, does it not, to satisfy everyone from the president to the public?
Well, certainly the Department of Justice may feel compelled to satisfy the president. The president is the head of the food chain when it comes to the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice is an arm of the executive branch, and the president is the guy when it comes to the executive branch. But I think short of the president, the Department of Justice is not going to be motivated. It's not going to be driven by public sentiment. Public sentiment is not driving the bus here. What is going to drive the bus?
The department, in this particular case, saving their asses. Even the Department of Justice is looking for a way to save their own asses. They look like damn fools. They ran on the platform of release the Epstein files. And these are the people that's claiming they want to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell, but they're not releasing the files now. So it's utterly obvious what's going on. It's just, to a complete utter fool, it's obvious what's going on. A crime pretty much is what's happening right here in your face. A crime is being committed, and people are discussing how that crime can happen, how that crime is likely going to happen. That's basically all you're going to get here. I mean, that's my opinion on it. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I pretty much won't feel any other way anytime soon. I mean, I've been paying attention to this one for a minute. I just don't think it's going to get any better myself. But in any case, let's see what's going on.
Good afternoon, everybody. We have a special guest with us today who will speak momentarily. But first, I would like to begin with a message from the White House.
Now, this is the same lady, right? This is the same lady who sat out there with Trump the other day, right? Here we go. Let me see. This is the same one. Let's peep who she is real quick before we forget, right? This is ridiculous. But before we forget, oh my God. Hold on, where is it at? Is it this one? 2 seconds. This is just ridiculous. Oh, here it is. Right. This is who we're about to hear talk. She's going to lecture us.
But all that your name appeared in the file.
She's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility.
You see, this one, she got cold busted. Just just in a similar scene with Trump. She knows that the heat is on. She knows that she's been played. She knows that.
Of the different things that they've seen.
You see that little look?
ABC's Mary Bruce pressing again the next day.
Is your name in files, Mr. President? Is that why they aren't being fully released?
So we're about to see her, right, explain to us in her official capacity how we're going to get justice. And what we're doing, we're not criminals in the White House administration. We're not out here violating the American people's trust. We're not violating the law, the American people's law. We're out here doing the right thing. So let's listen to some more of the right things. Let's listen to what we're going to do about the Epstein files.
To the families of the victims.
Blah, 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 blah. And here she comes. Let's go.
Sized intelligence, which was later used as a...
Look at this bullshit. Oh, my God. She's got to go on. She's got to come up with another conspiracy.
All job gains. The president has put the economic needs of families and of workers first. He signed the largest tax cuts for the middle class in American history.
I'm going to look you in the face and lie some more because you people are too stupid. I'll just do it again.
Including no tax on tips, overtime, and social.
No tax on tips. Oh man,
security.
That's such a silly thing, Okay, so instead of a fair wage, no tax on tips. All right, I got it.
We have also seen the president unquestionably deliver on his promise to secure our southern border. He has ended Biden's illegal alien invasion, and for 2 months in a row, 0 illegal aliens were released into our country. The president has also, as you all know, initiated the largest mass deportation campaign in American history. The president has also restored law and order to make America safe again, another campaign promise he vowed to the American public.
So they got to tell you all the campaign promises that they kept so that this one about the Epstein files, you'll let them get away with not keeping.
The United States of America is currently on track for its lowest murder rate on record following this shift from the last administration.
I think they just make this stuff up for real. Like, you know, at this point, you're allowed to lie on TV. You're allowed to lie, use the White House podium to just lie, and you don't go checked, really. I mean, it doesn't really matter because they will just say, well, the Democrats did this, and you will be like, oh, okay.
To the Trump administration. The president has also ended Joe Biden's reckless war on American energy.
Here we go.
U.S. oil and natural gas production are now surging, and summer gas prices reached their lowest level since 2021.
Is the gas lower?
The president has also rebuilt our military, another campaign promise. He just signed the largest military investment in decades to modernize our armed forces with cutting-edge technology to replenish our stockpiles and provide American troops with the best equipment in the world.
But when they come home, you want to cut their health care and medical benefits.
The U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, and Space Force have all reached...
I mean, who gives a damn if you give money to contractors? What about the soldiers? What do they get?
Their recruitment goals months in advance. The president has restored America's standing on the world stage, brought back...
No. His image on the world stage. You even have despots saying, Trump. You know, I mean, people that normally walk all over their own people are amazed at Trump. They're like, God damn, will you please stop Trump? Like, how bad are you? Like,
peace through strength and brokered numerous peace agreements to end wars. Again, all of this in just 6 months.
Yeah, to end wars, because he ended the Israeli-Palestine conflict. He ended the Iranian-Israeli conflict. He ended the war in Ukraine. There's war in Cambodia going on right now. You don't hear much about it at all. There's war in Africa going on. Sudan is still in war. You know, Congo still in conflict. What is going on?
Reiterated Iran's nuclear program to end the war between Israel and Iran, got NATO members to raise their defense spending to 5% of GDP, and secured a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, as well as brokering a historic agreement between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
The Congolese president, they just came out and dissed Trump.
The president has already received 3 different Nobel Peace Prize nominations for his peacemaking efforts. Again, all of this progress, all of these accomplishments have occurred in just 6 months. We are truly just getting started, and we look forward to working with all of you for the next 3.5 years.
That's projection. She's like, we look forward to working with you all for the next 3.5. It's over for them. The charade is up, lady. It's over. The Trump administration, it's over. It's through. It's through. You know, if she ain't working for J.D. Vance, she won't have a job by next year. Straight up. Flat out.
On another matter, over the past few days, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has unveiled shocking new evidence that
Here's the new conspiracy. Let's hear it.
Former President Barack Obama and top aides in the Obama administration conspired to subvert President Trump's 2016 election victory and undermine the democratic will of the American people.
Okay, so it's a conspiracy. Trump won the election, but they're going to charge them with conspiring to undermine it and have a coup. You know, that's what they're, you know, not like September 6th. It's totally different from September 6th, right? It's not just go and kick the door down and shit on the floor, you know, and threaten to, you know, have a hangman thing rope outside for Mike Pence, go looking in. It's not a violent invasion. It's, you know, those people were pardoned. It's something totally different.
While publicly pretending to engage in a peaceful transfer of power in private.
Like publicly pretending to engage in a peaceful plan. I mean, Trump didn't even pretend to be engaged in a coup, a violent coup. He didn't even pretend. He just said, fuck it. Yeah, let's do that. I'll meet y'all down there. He did no pretending. And what happened? You didn't hold him accountable? I mean, this shit is not going anywhere. But for the sake of lunacy and the sake of the laws not working in the United States of America, for the sake of there is really not as much justice as it needs to be to call it a just land or a just nation for its people? In light of that, let's just pretend this is going to turn out all right.
Former President Obama went to great and nefarious lengths to try to sow discord among the public and sabotage his successor, President Trump. The new evidence released by the Director of National Intelligence, who is here with me today, confirms that the Obama administration manufactured politicized intelligence, which was later used as the justification for baseless smears against President Trump in an effort to try to delegitimize his victory before he even took the oath of office.
How dare you?
The truth is that President Trump never had anything to do with Russia, and the Russia collusion hoax was a massive fraud perpetuated on the...
Right, just like the Epstein hoax. Hey, y'all, Epstein was a hoax, y'all. Did you know that? Those little girls, that was just all part of a big hoax. You know, all those money wiring things, all those stories about cameras, all those stories from people that were there in this stuff. I mean, it was all a hoax, all a hoax. Michael Cohen, part of a hoax. He's a hoax. You know, it's all a hoax. But this is the real conspiracy.
American people from the very beginning. And the worst part of this is Obama knew that truth.
I mean, you have to be sick in the head to sit there and believe this lady. But is she sick in the head? I mean, I'm curious. Like, I don't think she believes the shit that she's saying. And that's what makes it so messed up. If she actually believed it, if I believed that she believed it, it would be better. But I don't. I believe she literally is that fucked up. Like, she is there for her job. She wants to win. Her job is to win. It's not to provide justice. Her job is to win. It's not to protect those victims. Her job is to win. She can gaslight you anytime you want. It's about her and her team winning, because they went out there and said all kinds of shit, and now their back's up against the wall, and she's just going to keep fighting. They're going to fight because their backs are totally up against the wall, and this is them fighting. But she's definitely not a good person.
So did all of the other corrupt officials involved in this scam, including former CIA Director John Brennan.
I mean, when you go on with stuff like this and you know that it's utterly not true, what is that? I mean, is that what we have a place for? Taxpayers have a place for that? Like, I mean, certain things are supposed to be beyond party.
Former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, former FBI Director James Comey, former Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, and many others.
Oh, he's been after Comey since day one, since he appointed Comey. He's been after him the whole time because he didn't, kiss the ring.
Director of National Intelligence Gabbard's report further confirms what we already knew. There was no collusion.
How did you already know it? How did you already know it? When did they know it? You see, it's like, oh, they already knew there was no collusion. How did she know there was no collusion? I mean, who told you there was no collusion?
No corruption, except on the part of Barack Obama and the weaponized intelligence agencies at the time.
So the at the time, not anymore, only when they're in power, but not now. Not now, because although we're not going to release the Epstein files, trust us.
The Russia hoax was a blatant lie, all ginned up by Democrat political operatives that were signed off on by then President Obama and leaked to the news media to launch a years-long witch hunt against President Trump and his first administration. Allies of the president, including his own son, Donald Trump Jr.
Look, if you got business at hand, you don't keep harking back to the same old people that used to be in power. You talk about who's in what you're doing right now about the problem. And right now, the problem is this. They're not going to get justice for those victims. That's what it is. She's saying all of this as her lead up to be able to say, and that's why we're not going to give you justice for the victims of Epstein and his co-conspirators. We're not going to do that because we're doing this, and this.
Of our government. Now, nearly 10 years later, thanks to the declassification of documents by Director Gabbard, the truth has finally come to light.
So declassified files from Gabbard, you're not going to just declassify and throw the Epstein files out so we can all know too? Like.
And this truth vindicates President Trump, his family.
Yeah, in case you didn't know, let me spell it out in plain English. This vindicates, okay? Even though not in a court of law, I'm just going to say he's vindicated. Even though he's never been to trial, I'm just going to say he's vindicated.
His many allies and associates who were smeared with defamatory lies. President Trump was right from the beginning about all of this, and we are grateful that justice can be served. Now, we have even more damning evidence implicating those who tried to sabotage a duly elected president and did grave material harm to our republic. Thanks to additional important work done by CIA Director Ratcliffe, committee.
Take him to trial first. I mean, how do you conclude that? You haven't taken any of these people to any trial. You just concluded it all on your own.
Chairman Rick Crawford over the past few months, a newly declassified 2020 report prepared by the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, which DNI Director Gabbard has declassified, found that the intel community did not have any direct information that Russian President Vladimir Putin wanted to help elect President Trump in 2016. And in fact, Russia was actively preparing for a Hillary Clinton victory. But at the unusual...
They have to go all the way back into time. So they found space to go all the way back into time. But they ain't got space to go all the way back into these Epstein files. Right. Got it. You know, I mean, really, it's really annoying to have to deal with things that way. But I'm just trying to get to Gabbard's whack ass
awards
part.
To be stripped from the journalists who receive them. It is not journalism to propagate political disinformation in service of the Democrat Party and those in the intelligence community who hand over out of context and fake intelligence to push a false political narrative. I will now pass it over to the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, to speak more about all of this, and then we will open it up for questions afterwards. Tulsi, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. At President Trump's direction and with the support and coordination.
I'm totally not believable at all. You know, I'm really not feeling this, but I don't have to make any effort when I come out and speak. So I'm just going to read it. And after I make this 10-second opening, my eyes are really not going to hit your face again, you know, because I have to focus on what's on this paper.
The House Intelligence Committee Chairman Rick Crawford. Today we've released a declassified oversight majority staff report that was produced in September.
You see how long that is? It's like she's not really, this lady doesn't want to look you in the face when she's lying to you. That's what this is. That's what it looks like to me anyway.
2020. The stunning revelations that we are releasing today should be of concern to every American. This is not about Democrats or Republicans.
Right. Let me gaslight you. This is not for all of you all that were, you know, holding back the Epstein files. It's not about Democrat or Republican, y'all. How come they don't say that when they're holding? I mean, when you're holding back the Epstein files, that's exactly what people are saying to you. Isn't that ironic? People are saying it's not about whether you're Republican or Democrat. Just release the Epstein files. Now they take that language and gaslight you with it. Now they're going to go after somebody who doesn't do anything, make up anything, and then repeat those same words back to you.
This has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic and American voters having faith that the votes cast will count. There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia...
So she's going to, you know, in other words, they don't have a case. She's going to prove that they knew. Interesting.
Interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't. The report that we released today shows in great detail how they carried this out.
If they're doing their job, does it matter anymore according to the Supreme Court? If they're doing their job, if it's an official thing that they're doing, Obama, does it matter? No, not according to the Supreme Court. You see, so what is up with this? Of course, how are you going to prove he knew? How are you going to prove he knew something? By showing that he went out and said that he believes is this, this, and this? That's how you're going to do it? No, that's what a person does when they believe something. You can't convict a person based on what they believe and say, because you believed it, you knew it wasn't true. I mean, what are they going to pull out files where they say, you know what, we know this isn't true, but we're going to say this anyway? No, she's not even claiming to have that. It's actually
manufactured
pathetic.
Findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. They disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration. We're here today because the American people deserve the truth, they deserve accountability, and they deserve justice. The records that we released on Friday that were ODNI records, Senator Chuck Grassley's release on Monday of what is known as the Clinton Annex, which was an appendix to the Department of Justice Office of Inspector General's 2018 report, as well as the House Intelligence Committee's majority oversight report that we're releasing today, all come back to and confirm the same report. There was a gross politicization and manipulation of intelligence by the Obama administration intended to delegitimize President Trump even before he was inaugurated, ultimately usurping the will of the American people. I'm going to go over the key findings from the House Intelligence report, which investigated the claims that were made by an intelligence community assessment ordered by President Obama and published in January of 2017. First, Putin's principal interests relating to the 2016 election were to undermine faith in the U.S. democratic process, not show any preference of a certain candidate. In fact, this report shows Putin held back from leaking compromising material on Hillary Clinton prior to the election, instead planning to release it after the election to weaken what Moscow viewed as an inevitable Clinton presidency. In the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered, John Brennan, who was CIA director at the time, and the intelligence community intentionally suppressed intelligence that showed Putin was saving the most damaging material that he had in his possession about Hillary Clinton until after her potential and likely victory. The report goes into great detail about the information that Russia and Putin had on Hillary Clinton, which included possible criminal acts, like secret meetings with multiple named U.S. religious organizations in which State Department officials offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton's campaign for the presidency, significant increases in financing from the State Department. They also had documents that showed the patronage of the State Department to State Department employees who would go and support Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump. Brennan and the IC misled lawmakers by referencing the debunked Steele dossier to assess quote-unquote Russia's plans and intentions, falsely suggesting that this dossier had intelligence value when he knew that it was discredited. The intelligence community excluded significant intelligence and ignored or selectively quoted reliable intelligence that contradicted the intelligence community assessment's key findings on Putin's alleged support for Trump. Including this intelligence reporting would have exposed the ICA's claim as implausible, if not ridiculous. The intelligence community assessment omitted reliably sourced information, such as how some Russian intelligence officials were quote-unquote planning for candidate Hillary Clinton's victory, while others assessed neither Trump nor Clinton would respect Russia's interests. As was reflected in the ODNI documents that we released on Friday, multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the U.S. election.
We could see this ain't really going far. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she's making a whole bunch of claims that, you know,
on December 5th of 2016, the FBI
claims that you're going to have to go to court and prove. Do you know how long this is going to take? You see, people, this is just basically scapegoating. This is a red herring. This is scapegoat. They're just only trying to waste your time from the Epstein files. They have no intention on bringing Obama into any justice. That's not what this is about. This is because if it was, right, the one thing it's definitely going to take is a long time to bring an ex-president into what? Into official capacity. You're trying to convict him for something he did under official capacity. The Supreme Court already went through this. So it's obviously a distraction, and it's sad that it's had to go this way, but let me just speed it up to where the reporters get to her ass, because I'm really like, this is just so damn boring. Listening to her talk is it's just pathetic. It's just pathetic.
Created an intelligence community assessment limited to just 5 analysts using one principal drafter. This is not something that occurs in the normal path of.
How the hell would she know what normal is? She's not even a career. She's what? She been working in this in this department. She's been working there. You know, is that what she been doing? Is that her profession? No, they got her ass out of left field. And she's talking about what's normal. And if you are an American citizen and you trust a person that have zero experience, the president already went out on TV and said, you don't know what you're talking about when she made her comments about Iran. She's right back up here talking to you like you're supposed to trust her like she has some experience. She has zero. She's saying it's not normal. What's not normal is you don't get people that have no profession, no background, and make them in charge of your damn security. That's what's not normal. That's what's going on here.
Producing an intelligence community assessment that reflects the views across the intelligence community.
So the assessments that were done about the Russia scandal that was bipartisan, those are no good for her, though. Those are no good from both sides of the aisle. Why? Because they're talking about Trump and the Russia. But somehow she's saying that Obama, he did some assessments that weren't they were biased, you know, somehow politically biased or not well founded, not solid, you know, doesn't have enough, you know, from the community, the security community to know what they're talking about. It's not a balanced report. It's not a fair report.
The production of this intelligence community assessment was subject to unusual directives directly from the president and senior political appointees, especially the former director of the CIA, John Brennan. The House Intelligence Committee Oversight Report also shows how later that same day, on December 9th, Brennan ordered the publication of quote-unquote substandard reporting on Russian activities, which had previously
ordered substandard? You mean he wrote that down? Give me some substandard reporting.
Been withheld from publication of prior assessments because the information was judged, quote, to have not met long-standing publication standards. Some of the information later used in the Obama-ordered assessment over the objections of veteran CIA officers was, quote-unquote, unclear or from unknown sources. The Intelligence Committee's oversight report reveals that CIA Director Brennan overruled senior CIA officers who challenged the Obama-ordered intelligence assessment, stating, quote, we don't have direct...
It sounds like they're talking about Trump. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't, it's in any case. Here, let's go. Let's
Donald
see.
Trump. Thank you.
Donald Trump. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tulsi. And we do want to
Look at her. She's just like, man, that shit didn't make any damn sense.
take questions on this topic while the director has time for this topic. She will leave. I'm happy to take questions on other matters after that. But if anyone has questions for Director Gabbard, you're welcome to ask them. We'll start with our new media seat as always. Emily, go ahead.
Thank you. And Director Gabbard, this one is for you. Do you believe that any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior?
We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
So she don't even know if it's criminal. She's up there. What the hell? She doesn't even. What the hell you up here wasting our time for, lady? Like, damn, you really gonna do this to us? Come
Correct.
on.
The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of...
We want to investigate it because we really don't know, but it looks like it to me because my name is Tulsi Gabbard.
Evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
Ed, go ahead.
Director Gabbard, thank you. So just
What's your intelligence that confirmed the fact? Can you tell us?
two questions, but to begin on that. The president yesterday, you've inferred that the former president helped lead a coup. Based on what you now see, do you believe President Obama is guilty of treason?
I'm leaving the criminal charges to the Department of Justice. I am not an attorney, but as I've said previously...
Well, you don't have to talk. You don't have to say treason from the legal standard of the word treason. You don't have to do that. I mean...
When you look at the intent behind...
How do you prove intent in this case? He's the president. How's she going to prove his intent was to not do something within his right as the president?
In creating a fake manufactured intelligence document.
She should sue. President Obama should sue them flat out. That should be right now. He shouldn't even wait. He shouldn't even wait because, I mean, she's saying enough. She's making an open accusation. You know, where is the proof? If you sue her, she had to come and bring that proof.
That directly contradicts multiple assessments that were created by the intelligence community. The expressed intent and what followed afterward can only be described as a years-long coup and a treasonous conspiracy against the American people, our republic, and an attempt to undermine President Trump's administration.
The Senate Intelligence Committee spent several years looking into this and unanimously agreed in a bipartisan fashion, Secretary of State Rubio was a member of that committee, that there was no political interference.
Facts.
There was a years-long Justice Department investigation into this as well that also concluded no political interference. So help us from a 50,000-foot level.
That's exactly right. Rubio is in Trump's cabinet right now. He was the dude sitting next to it. Look. Oh, the hell up. This shit is crazy. This is crazy. I mean, it's nuts. It's totally nuts. Where's his ass at? Is it here? Hold on. Is it this one? Let me see. Is it this one? AG Pam. Yeah, hold on. AG Pam. Right. It's this one, right? So you see, that's Rubio right there. You see Rubio right in the middle, right in the center of the screen? That's Rubio right there in the center of the screen, sitting next to Trump. If you look from my direction to the right of Trump, not to the right of Trump, not Trump's right, but to our right. Okay, that would be the left of Trump. The person sitting to the left of Trump, that's Rubio. That's who he's asking about right now. Asking, is this really like, you know, how could that be true when Rubio said this and that, and he's sitting right next to Trump right now? Look, why don't you ask Rubio?
Explain, what do you now have that...
As I've said previously, when you look at the intent behind creating a fake manufactured intelligence document that directly contradicts multiple assessments that were created by the intelligence community, The expressed intent and what followed afterward can only be described as a years-long coup and a treasonous conspiracy.
She's not even making sense what she's saying. You know, this is really just her rambling. It is not. It's just, I don't see how she could think that people are getting anything out of this outside of her insinuating some wrong happened. She's doing a lot of insinuating, and making claims about, like, you did this, this must be a conspiracy. It looks like we have proof, conclusive proof that it must have been a conspiracy that led us to think it's a conspiracy. It's like, okay, but what's the damn proof? Where is it at? When are you going to talk about what those things are?
Against the American people, our republic, and an attempt to undermine President Trump's administration.
The Senate Intelligence Committee.
So anybody that attempts to undermine President Trump's administration, this is what we're going to do to you. Even if you are 20 years ago out of the, even we're going to go way back in time.
We spent several years looking into this and unanimously agreed in a bipartisan fashion, Secretary of State Rubio was a member of that committee, that there was no political interference. There was a years-long Justice Department investigation into this as well that also concluded no political interference. So help us from a 50,000-foot level explain, what do you now have that refutes those two?
Sure, I will encourage
she don't have nothing that she's going to tell you.
In my role as the Director of National Intelligence. My job, again, as I said when I came into this role, was...
You see this? He just asked her a direct question, and now she's talking about some other shit.
To make sure that we are telling the truth to the American people.
Projection. Like, what does that have to do with his question?
And that we are ensuring that the intelligence community is not being politicized.
Projection. It is being, that's a confession by her. That's basically it. That has nothing to do with what he just asked her. Let's roll it back.
Based on what you now see, do you believe President Obama is guilty of treason?
I'm leaving the criminal charges to the Department of Justice. I'm not an attorney, but as I've said previously, when you look at the intent behind creating a fake manufactured intelligence document that directly contradicts multiple assessments that were created by the intelligence community, the expressed intent and what followed afterward can only be described as a years-long coup and a treasonous conspiracy against the American people, our republic, and an attempt to undermine President Trump's administration.
The Senate Intelligence Committee spent several years looking into this and unanimously agreed in a bipartisan fashion, Secretary of State Rubio was a member of that committee, that there was no political interference. There was a years-long Justice Department investigation into this as well that also concluded no political interference. So help us from a 50,000-foot level explain, what do you now have that refutes those two?
Sure.
What do you now have that refutes those two facts, right? And now we're about to hear her answer.
I will encourage you, in my role as the director.
I will encourage you. In my role as the director, okay, so now it's time to spit out rhetoric and not answer your question.
National intelligence. My job, again, as I said when I came into this role, was to make sure that we are telling the truth to the American people and that we are ensuring that the intelligence community is not being...
She sounds like she took some brainwash lessons, like some kind of disinformation school, like where you just calmly keep repeating the same stupid shit over and over and over, just in a calm voice, just keep repeating it over and over and over. I mean, she sounds like she's purposely talking this way, like
politicized. So I'm not asking you to take my word for it. I'm asking you and the media to conduct...
I'm not asking you to take my word for it. Yes, you fucking are, lady. You're asking us to take your fucking word for it. Like, what are you talking about? You provided no proof of anything. And that's just going to hang in the air.
Honest journalism and the American people to see for yourself in the documents that we've released now, close to 200 pages.
Why didn't they just go to the Justice Department and just leave it at that? Let them do what they got to do. Investigate, baby. No, they had to announce they're going to investigate, announce why they're going to investigate. No investigation, nothing like that.
At point in multiple references, multiple examples, to include comments that have been made by senior intelligence professionals who are some still working within these agencies today that confirm the conclusions that we have drawn, that President Obama directed an intelligence community assessment to be created to further this contrived false narrative.
Okay, where is that written? So they're going to testify to that.
That ultimately led to a years-long coup to try to undermine President Trump's presidency.
So, okay, so that must be part of her case, that she's gone on record. She got people that's willing to say that.
Do you believe that those two previous investigations missed that or covered it up?
I'm telling you to look at the evidence.
Here we go again. He asked her a direct question, and her answer isn't yes. Her answer is, I'm telling you something else.
Look at the evidence, and you will know the truth.
Look at the evidence, and you will know the truth. You ain't giving us no evidence.
John.
Thanks, Caroline. Thanks, Director Gabbard. You declassified these documents, if I'm not mistaken, Friday of last week, correct?
We released them on Friday of last week, the first tranche, yes.
This isn't the first time that President Trump has been president of the United States. He was president from 2017 to 2021. Couldn't the prior DNI under President Trump have declassified these documents? And why didn't that DNI do that at that time?
I can't speak to what happened there. There were several DNIs under the first Trump administration. President Trump faced many challenges from those who were working in the government who sought to undermine his presidency. That's been clearly detailed. What I can speak to is the fact that this was one of the first things that we started to investigate here within this Trump administration and have released the results upon the conclusion of our investigation.
And then my second question has to do with what intelligence agencies around the world have said about Russia, that they have tried to influence elections in the United States, in France, in Germany, in the UK. Do you disagree with that? Do you believe that Russia is a bad actor as it relates to trying to influence elections?
I'll point back to the intelligence that President Trump has ordered declassified, that we have declassified and released.
You know, that's the thing. She can't answer a question. She can't answer a question. She basically knows she can't answer that question because she's going to look stupid, essentially. She doesn't want more people working inside of her agency to come out against her. So she's not going to go that far herself and answer that.
The intelligence reflects Russia's motives were to try to sow discord and chaos within the U.S. election, which is a clear distinction from showing a preference for or against a specific candidate, which is what the Obama manufactured intelligence document alleges, that Russia preferred Donald Trump and tried to help Donald Trump get elected. Again, going back to the most important point here, with the intent to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump's election and therefore subvert the will of the American people who chose to send him to the White House.
Reagan.
Thanks, Caroline. Director Gabbard, Reagan Reese with the Daily Caller. You laid out that the
But he did it as the president. So, again, where is this going? Where is it going?
documents revealed that the Obama administration did not publish a December 2016 presidential daily briefing that demonstrated that Russia did not steal the election. Trump was receiving these briefings at the time because he was president-elect. Are you of the view that that information was kept out of the briefing because then President-elect Donald Trump would have seen it?
I don't have any.
You see that?
Documents that speak to exactly what the new guidance was that was given as the reason for pulling that document, which, by the way, still has never been published until we released it last week, Friday. One could assume
she's talking in circles,
that they didn't want President Trump to see.
One could assume
A document that came from the intelligence community that would contradict the Russia hoax narrative that began through the Hillary Clinton campaign with the Steele dossier.
One more.
So it was all a hoax. So now that we've established that that was all a hoax, now we're going to establish that the Epstein files are also a part of that hoax, y'all. So no need to release them because that's also part of a hoax. Okay? And I'm even thinking they might even throw that in there just to be able to say you can't reveal that information anymore because that's also now all of that all those FBI Epstein files are now part of a new case, so we can't reveal it. You know,
maybe either for you or Caroline, the president said yesterday that Obama committed treason. Do you or the White House believe that the Supreme Court's immunity decision protects Obama from prosecution?
Look, I can speak to the president's feelings on this matter. He spoke to all of you yesterday in the Oval Office, but I also spoke to him about this morning. And he wants to see all those who perpetuated this fraud against our country, who betrayed our country and the Constitution, to be thoroughly investigated and held accountable. And it's been 10 years of this. And I would just add, based on everything the director has said and declassified, all of you in this room should go through it and take a look at this report and review the intelligence, because unfortunately that hasn't happened. And many of the people who perpetuated this hoax, Clapper, Andy McCabe, James Comey, and many others, have been hired by major networks in this room to go on television and continue to spew these lies, knowing that they are lies. And look, if you all recall, just flashback to 2016 and the years after.
Pete Hegseth comes from Fox News. He's the head of he's the head of the Pentagon under Trump. I mean, I just. Again, this is all just distractions, and it's like you said this about me, so I'm going to say this about you. And by the way, those Epstein files, let's not talk about that.
The entire Trump 1 presidency was embroiled in this scandal that was perpetuated by the Democrat Party. And you had major Democrat Party officials in this city, namely Adam Schiff, Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren, who went on television and told the American people Donald Trump is an asset of Russia. It was a lie. They always knew it. Hillary Clinton herself said that President Trump would be a puppet for Putin. Senator Tim Kaine at the time called.
So, it's interesting because do you think there's anything about Russians inside of the Epstein files? It looks like there is, according to some of the depositions already given. Trump has Russian buddies. He's worked with Russians, right? So isn't that part of his New York case? Didn't a Russian already go to prison and serving time right now? It's on the state level, though, because if the feds prosecuted Trump, can just pardon anybody he wants on the Fed level now that he's the president. You see what I mean? Like, anyway, let's hear this one.
President Trump, Vladimir Putin's defense lawyer, Adam Schiff, stated, and one of the worst things a lawmaker can do is to tell the American people, I know something you don't know, it's just classified and I can't tell you. And that.
So release the Epstein files then. You know something, you're claiming to know something, you're claiming to know that Trump, has nothing to do with anything that's been said about him. But you won't release the Epstein files.
That's what he said. I can tell you that the case is more than that. I can't go into the particulars, but there is more than circumstantial evidence now. And not enough people in this room, not enough journalists in this country pushed Adam Schiff to say, what are you talking about? What evidence do you have? Everybody just ran with the lies, and it led to impeachments. It led to the division of our country. Unfortunately, so many Americans, from listening to outlets in this room, believed in these lies. And it's a complete scam. And it's a...
And remember what they're telling you. They're telling you the Epstein files are a scam, that's all created by the Democrats. I mean, to me, it seems like this is an admission of what people have been saying is actually true. The Russia thing is true. And what's in those Epstein files the damning information about Trump is also true. That's what this tells me. You know, and the only reason why to them it's not true is because their boss is the one it's about, pointed at. If it was somebody else's boss, it would be true to them. So far, that's the only thing I see. You know, anything that is alleged from anybody about Trump, even from a woman who was a little girl when she was around Trump, even what she says is a hoax. I mean, it's the height of shame. It's the height of shame, you know, and nations don't go anywhere without ethics. And this, to me, shows me that there's definitely not a lot of ethics that's prevailing in the U.S. right now. There's just not a lot of ethics.
Scandal, and the president wants to see accountability for that. Phil.
Thank you. Question for Director Gabbard. A spokesperson for former President Obama said in a statement earlier this week, quote, "Nothing in the documents issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes." How do you respond to critics like former President Obama and also others on the Hill who say that the administration is conflating apples and oranges here, conflating allegations of actual hacking of voter machines and allegations of interference generally?
I think it's a disservice to the American people that former President Obama's office and others who are criticizing the transparency that is being delivered by releasing these documents. They are doing a disservice to the American people and trying to do.
Basically, what they do is they gaslight. When you call for justice, they say, you know what? You're asking for the Epstein files. And because you're asking for the Epstein files, what we're going to do is we're going to go out there and hurt some innocent people until you stop asking for the Epstein files. We're going to go around and try to just harm. They're weaponizing it. See, since the American people have asked for the Epstein files, that very concept of transparency, they're going to weaponize it now. Not for the sake of being transparent, but they're just going to say that word over and over and over while they wrongfully attack people and call it transparency just because you're asking for the Epstein files. You know, I don't know what the word for that is, but that is sociopathic. I guess that's the word. That's like how a sociopath operates. Burn everybody, hurt as many people as possible because you hurt me. Basically.
Reflect away from their culpability in what is a historic scandal and
historic scandal. Would that sounds like the Epstein files is a historic scandal too. You see, it's like this is brainwash. This is pure propaganda, but high level brainwash. This is not an accident. Her tone. This is not an accident. Her body language. None of it is so. How can you say this? Just like so boring. So boring. You know, she's almost playing calm. Like it's on purpose. Like if she tries to give off this physical appearance, like she's calm by talking methodically, not speaking fast, kind of like, you know, as long as she does it calm and mask her physical appearance, that she can just keep repeating the lie over and over and over. It's
negative action towards the American people and our democratic republic. The answer to that statement can very clearly be found throughout all of the documents that we have released. Again, showing that Russia has took action to try to sow discord in the election, but showed no preference for or against any singular candidate.
You've long been an opponent of weaponization in government. How do you respond to criticism that referring Obama administration officials and even potentially the former president is just more weaponization?
Exactly.
This is a potential race to the bottom?
I think that's a very disrespectful attack on the American people.
Oh, really? They're asking you. And she's like, I'm the American people. I'm the American people. you know, cloaking herself in that flag. None of the rest of you are fucking Americans, by the way.
Who deserve the truth. They deserve to have faith and trust in the integrity of our democratic.
You see how she repeats that?
Republic, which has been undermined.
Democrats been saying this the entire time, and they disagreed the entire time until they could say it's the Democrats that are undermining it.
By President Obama through his.
The Democrats said Russia's undermining it. You see how that weaponization works? And then she says, no, it's not the Russians. It's the Democrats who are undermining it. That's an attack on Americans. That's the actual conspiracy right there in your face. And I'm curious myself how closely knit she is to the Russian government herself. Like, I'm just curious myself. I mean, it seems really, really odd that it would come to that exact argument.
Direction of this manufactured fake intelligence document, knowing that it was filled with lies and knowing that it would and could then be used for all of the actions that came after.
How could anybody know that she's planning on on proving that conspiracy? That's a serious rabbit hole, bro. By the time you get out of that rabbit hole, you're going to have wrinkles all over your face. You know what I'm saying? You probably done had 3 or 4 different operations and shit. You're going to be old as hell. I'll put it to you this way. Don't hold your breath.
And I would just add, there needs to be accountability for that weaponization, Phil.
There needs to be accountability also for the victims of Epstein. But they said it's all a hoax. Look at this. 2 ladies up there basically making the victims of the Epstein files a hoax. I mean, that's a goddamn shame. That's a goddamn shame because, you know, this is how you know some of this gender stuff, the arguments that a lot of people make trying to attribute certain behavior to gender. Like, nah, man, anyone has a fair opportunity at opportunism. Anybody, you know, maybe it might look a little different. Maybe it might sound a little different. But this is the female version of opportunism. This is the female version of, I don't give a fuck about you. I give a fuck about myself and my job and my title. You know, who are you, petty crumbs? I'm going to I'm going to ride this horsey out no matter how much harm it costs. And I'm going to gaslight you while I do it.
That we've seen. And no one has been a victim.
That's the shit that really hurts. The mental violence is the shit folks really need to be cautious of. Like, because you either going to be disgusted by it and revolt, like, or you're going to, you know, digest it and let it become part of you.
Victim of the weaponized government more than President Trump, not just because of this political scandal. You all recall his house was raided. So I think, you know, it's very disingenuous.
His house was raided. Trump's house. You see? It's like he took top secret files out of the U.S. and brought it to his personal home. How many files? How many files, man? This is just ridiculous. Let me just see this. How many pages of top secret files did Trump take to Mar-a-Lago? Let's see here. You know, they're talking about he raided. You see how they do this? This stuff is just really nasty. It's really nasty. You know, they gaslight people like it was just nothing for that. No reason to raid his house.
Former President Donald Trump took more than 700 pages of classified documents to Mar-a-Lago when he left office in January 2021. including multiple pages marked Top Secret SCI by the National Archives and the DOJ. Cite, turn search 9, turn search for RAM. Breakdown of documents recovered. 1. January 2022. Voluntary return to Nara. 15 boxes retrieved contained 184 classified documents, totaling over 700 pages. Among these, 25 marked Top Secret, 92 Secret, 67 Confidential, turn search, 24 turn search, 8 turn search for RAM. 2. June 2022, subpoena delivery. Trump's team delivered an envelope with 38 additional classified documents, 17 Top Secret, 16 Secret, 5 Confidential. Total pages not specified. Cite turn search for turn search 5. 3. August 2022, FBI raid. FBI seized roughly 11,000 documents, including over 100 additional classified documents, some top secret SCI in storage and office spaces at Mar-a-Lago, again without specific page counts. Site turn search 23, turn search 5, turn search 24, turn search 3. Total estimated pages and documents. Event, classified documents, approx of pages, notes. August 2022, FBI. January 2022, 184, voluntary transfer. June 2022, subpoena, 38, not specified, separate envelope. August 2022, FBI, $100+, not specified, raid and seizure across many containers. Over these 3 recoveries, Trump had approximately 300 to 340 documents with classification markings. Only the January batch provides a concrete page count, more than 700 pages in total. The other sets lack detailed page tallies, but add further classified content to the total. Cite turn search for turn search. Summary. Yes, Trump took more than 700 pages of classified documents to Mar-a-Lago, as returned in January 2022. The total number of documents across all interactions is about 300 to 340. Detailed page counts exist only for the January batch. Other returns and seizure events did not have published page totals, but documents from them were clearly classified at levels including Top Secret SCI. Let me know if you'd like more specifics on what kind of content was in the documents, or how investigators quantified the total page count over multiple events. Here's what was found in the classified documents that Donald Trump took to Mar-a-Lago and was later indicted over. What was in the files? 1. Highly sensitive intelligence materials. Over 300 documents bore clear classification markings, about 25 top secret, 92 secret, and 67 confidential, including documents with SCI, sensitive information, and SAP, special access program labels. Site turn search 6, turn search 5. A variety of classifications appeared. HCS, Pfizer, Orcon, No-Fawn, among others, indicating information that could not be shared outside specific U.S. government compartments. Site turn search 6. 2. Content concerns and national security risks. The documents included details on nuclear weaponry, U.S. nuclear capabilities, spy satellites, and foreign countries' military capabilities. These contained extremely sensitive national defense and intelligence material. Site turn search 4, turn search 1, turn 0, news 20. Some items pertain to U.S. military or attack plans for foreign adversaries, including at least one document reportedly about Iran. Site turn search 1, turn news 20, turn search 6. Have 3. Improper storage and handling. Classified documents were intermingled with personal items, magazines, clothes, gifts, empty folders, and other non-classified materials. In bathrooms, the ballroom, 45 office, bedrooms, and storage rooms at Mar-a-Lago. Site turn search 1, turn search 28. Empty folders still bore classification banners. One seized box held 43 empty classified folders and 24 documents labeled as SEC, TS, confidential, mixed with 99 media articles and 69 non-classified photos, documents. Site and search. Legal context. What the indictment targets. Indictment focus. The indictment specifically charges 31 documents with counts, each representing a separate willful retention of national defense information. Site and search 7, turn search 1. The broader indictment accuses Trump of willful retention, Espionage Act, obstruction of justice, making false statements, and concealing evidence in a conspiracy with co-defendants such as Walt Nauta. Cite turn search 1 turn search 7. Why it's significant. Storing nuclear documents, military intelligence and spy satellite information in unsecured non-government locations is considered a serious breach of protocol and a direct threat to national security. Cite turn search 4 turn search 6 turn news 20. According to legal filings, Trump allegedly showed a classified military plan, likely related to Iran, to unauthorized individuals at his Bedminster golf estate, while admitting he did not have the power to declassify it. Cite and search turn news 20. Summary table, category details. Classified document count.
Right. Well,
over 300 documents.
People get the point. She's talking about, and he raided my daddy's home. You went in my daddy's home. You raided my daddy's home. Yeah, lady.
And
yeah, they raided your daddy's home. Okay, get over it. This is why.
Of justice. Now the president is back because the American people see the truth. Nearly 80 million Americans re-elected him back to this office, and he believes that we need to have justice and accountability. And I think the nearly 80 million Americans who re-elected him agree with that. Caitlin.
Thank you, Caroline. Two questions for Director Gabbard just on this. Director Gabbard, you referenced the past intelligence reports and assessments on this, including that 2017 one that was signed off, as Ed noted, by every Republican on the Senate Intelligence Community, including the acting chair of the time, now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who said in a statement that they did not find any evidence of Russian collusion, but they did find, however, is very troubling, and they found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling. One, are you saying that he's wrong in that statement that he made then? And secondly, what would you say to people who believe that you're only releasing these documents now to improve your standing with the president after he said that your intelligence assessments were wrong?
Well, first I want to correct something that you stated, which was citing the Senate.
Here's what was found in the classified documents that Donald Trump took to Mar-a-Lago.
I think you said the Intelligence Community. The Senate Intelligence Committee has a very different function than the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The evidence and the intelligence that has been declassified and released is irrefutable. I'm going to let Caroline speak.
Here's what was found in the classified documents that Donald Trump took to Mar-a-Lago and was later.
Rubio, she said he put out a statement in 2020.
She said it's irrefutable. She said it's irrefutable until you go to a place where you're allowed to refute it, which is a courtroom. It's irrefutable. It's irrefutable. Yeah, saying it's irrefutable doesn't mean it's irrefutable. You got to test that theory, gal.
Following that Senate Intelligence Committee report, and he said what they found is troubling. We found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling, which the Director of National Intelligence just confirmed for all of you, that Russia was trying to sow distrust and chaos. But what's the outrage in this that Secretary Rubio did not say at the time, the Democrats were saying at the time, is the fact that the intelligence community was concocting this narrative that the president colluded with the Russians, that the president's son was holding secret meetings with the Russians, all of these lies.
So in other words, you can mingle with all these people, you can do business with all these people, but don't you dare say I'm colluding. Colluding is not that's not a I don't think that counts for much. Colluding is a non-legal term. So are you colluding? How do you prove you weren't colluding? How do you prove you weren't colluding? You know, the legal term for colluding would be conspiring. That would be the legal term. You see, that would be something you can take to a court, right? And it just seems, you know,
that were never true.
You know, it seems when I hear her speak, Caroline, she sounds like she's speaking about someone she's related to, like a family member, like speaking from the heart, you know, what she believes could never be true no matter what, because this is my daddy type of thing. You see what I mean? Like some people, because it's a family member, because it's somebody, a personal, you know, a husband maybe, or a wife or a child, would take that approach and always stand on that person's side no matter what, argue for them. That's what she seems like she's doing. She doesn't seem like a White House press secretary. She seems like it's all personal to her.
And he also said at that time, we discovered deeply troubling actions taken by the FBI under
Deeply troubling
Comey
is not a crime.
Particularly their acceptance and willingness to rely on the Steele dossier.
I mean, what is the standard they're going by? It's deeply troubling because why? What's deeply troubling? What did they do that's a crime?
Without verifying its methodology or sourcing. The Steele dossier that many outlets in this room ran as the gospel truth, and it was cooked up and paid for by the Clinton campaign.
Okay. So, I mean, but was anything in it true? I mean, saw it as the gospel truth. Was there something in it that was true, though, in that dossier? Or was it all fake?
As for your second question, Caitlin, I think who is saying that she would release this to try to boost her standing with the president? Who has
all
said
of
that?
Us,
Well, the president
we are.
publicly undermined her when it came to Iran. He said she was wrong. He told me that she didn't know what she was talking about. That was on Air Force One.
No,
We all heard it. Yes, he did.
Camera.
The only people who are suggesting that the Director of National Intelligence would release evidence to try to boost her standing with the president are the people in this room who constantly
No, I'm not in this room. It looked like that.
try to sow distrust and chaos amongst the president's cabinet.
He said she doesn't know what she's talking about. That's what he said. So why should we think that suddenly from one day to the next, she knows what she's talking about when it comes to Obama and the Democrats? Like, she doesn't know what she was talking about with Iran. He said it. She didn't say nothing about that. And now we're supposed to listen to her?
And it is not working. I will just answer your question directly. I am with the President of the United States every day.
So
He has the
crazy
utmost
shit.
confidence in Director Gabbard. He always has. He continues to. And that is true of his entire cabinet, who is all working as one team to deliver on the promises this president made. Does anyone else have questions for Director Gabbard? And then we'll turn it over to a couple other questions. Christian, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Director Gabbard, two follow-ups on questions that have been asked.
Oops.
You mentioned the previous DNIs during the president's first term. One of them reports to you right now, if I'm not mistaken, John Ratcliffe. So have you not spoken to him about why this information was not declassified during the first term?
He was in that position for a very short period of time.
Aha! Now we have an excuse, busted again. Notice how they always have an excuse for not doing anything when they're in power. They don't have to do anything. All they do is point back at the last group.
The work that began back then, we have picked up and absolutely completed. We are continuing to investigate this. Additional whistleblowers are now coming forward because they see an opportunity for the truth to come to light. And as Caroline said, for real accountability to be brought forward. The accountability is the essential part of this. We can show the truth, reveal
What about the Epstein files?
the truth. The accountability needs to occur to be able to start to restore that trust and in
What about the Epstein files with trust?
the integrity of our democracy.
See, this is just total gaslighting. The integrity of our democracy, but we're going to withhold. See, all of that matters. All of that is right and true when she is weaponizing it. But when the American people want something, she's going to say, no. We don't need to do that for the same reasons. Releasing the Epstein files is not about trust. It's not about restoring the trust in the American people. No, you could do that in other ways. You could restore the trust in the American people without releasing those files. Basically. Without charging anyone else. Basically.
Just quickly, I know you said you would leave the charging to DOJ, but the statute of limitations on conspiracy is 5 years. So what else could they possibly pursue besides treason?
I think that's a great question for Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Oh, she just threw Pam Bondi under the bus. She's like, yeah, you answer that, Pam Bondi. Look, I mean, they operate like a cult. When cult members, they're all competing against each other to get favor from the cult leader. So at any point, any one of them might throw the other one under the bus to get favor to become the most favored one. You see what I mean? And this is starting to look to me like this lady doesn't like Pam Bondi. And it also seems like Pam Bondi doesn't like this lady too much. I mean, am I detecting some sort of fight? amongst MAGA folk, the MAGA administration? Like, it seems like it, because if I'm correct, Pam Bondi threw a little shade her Tulsi's way. So a few people have thrown some shade towards Pam Bondi, obviously, but it seems like now she's getting her chance to throw some shade back.
We're providing all of the evidence, all of the intelligence that we have, both redacted and unredacted versions, referring it to the Department of Justice and the FBI.
You know, basically, it seems like all of them, they're claiming that they're going to be doing something. But the truth of the reality is that it seems like they're putting a lot of this on the DOJ and the FBI. Like Kash Patel's going down. No question about it. I mean, he's a total fraud, you know. Nobody expects anything from him. But in terms of what their roles are, the DOJ, if there's a crime, they have a big role in it, you know, in doing something about it. So it seems like, you know, they are all going to turn in Pam Bondi, basically. Let her take the fall, you know, yeah, it seems like they've chosen their fall person is going to be Pam Bondi. I mean, at least they know they're not going to turn against Trump. None of them are turning against Trump. None of them are going to turn against Trump. Somebody's got to take the fall for Trump, even though Trump is going to be saving his own ass anyway. He got a plan himself. He's already got a plan to save himself without y'all. But it looks like these people are going to be fighting over each other and fighting against each other to see who's going to be the last person standing. You know what I mean? Like, they know that the heat is about to be on. Once Trump is out of the picture, which he easily can be, because all he has to do is go sick. He's an old man. These folks ain't old. They'll be around for a lot of years. A lot can be done. As long as they don't have like dual citizenship in other countries, as long as they can't claim ethnic statesmanship, like that is for a person that doesn't have a passport. If your parents came from that country, maybe you could always go back and claim it because of your ethnicity, because your parents are this or that. You know, a lot of nations do that too. So I'm curious about where this lady's going. Is she planning on running? Most of these people, if you ask me, are preparing their exit route. But of course, in the camera, they're acting, you know, they're taking the offensive in the camera. But this type of offensive is really defense. Ultimately, it's really defense. If you ask me, they're all planning their exit strategies right about now. And the only one that's not planning an exit strategy is probably J.D. Vance. Because if you notice, he's been quiet for a long time. And he's been visiting Fox News, where they asked him about, are you the successor? Are you the natural successor to the MAGA brand, to the Trump brand? You know, and he's like, I'm not even thinking about politics. You know, Mr. I just went on to a meeting with Rupert Murdoch. So while all of this stuff is going on, it seems like they all pretty much know something is about to go down. Like the gig is up. That's what it seems like to me. But, and of course, my opinion matters to me. So, but in any case, let's hear the rest of this.
How credible was the information about Hillary Clinton's health? The report said that it was from sourced from the DNC. Have you seen that information? Or do you think that maybe Russia was overemphasizing what they had?
All I have seen is what the Intelligence Committee have reported through their investigation. I think the underlying point there is that.
So she's only seen what they reported.
We understand from intelligence what Russia said that they had. And the important point here is that if they were trying to influence the election
So she's defending Russia. She's defending them. She's saying if they were trying to do this, why is she out there trying to defend them? Like
President Obama and James Clapper and John Brennan, everybody.
How can she speak to what, obviously, so she's not claiming to speak for Russia. She's saying, no, the Obamas knew it wasn't true.
He said they were doing in order to support Donald Trump's election, they would...
Even though they said it was true. Even though they said their opinion, she's saying, nah, they know that what they were saying is not true.
Have released the most damning...
They're lying to y'all. They never believed that themselves.
...of that information, some of which...
And also, they're the ones that created the Epstein scandal. That's all a hoax.
I detailed here. You'll find the rest in the...
And you taxpayers are going to pay for me to stand up here in the camera and bullshit you.
...report prior to the election to help Donald Trump win. They specifically withheld what they had on her, the most damning information, because they thought that she would win the election. They had plans to release it just prior.
So how's she going to prove that? How's she going to prove that they purposely withheld something because they believed? This is, anyway, y'all, I'm out of this bad boy. You know, I don't know if you can see through the bull, but it's just garbage. And I think people, we owe ourselves much better than this. We owe ourselves much better than this. I'm just really appalled, really, right now. And I just don't. I feel sorry for the nation. I feel sorry for people that, you know, that we have to put up with this bullshit, you know, but it is what it is. But, you know, on that note, I appreciate everybody for coming out, man. We gonna wrap soon. Y'all be good, all right? I'll be back in a few. You know what I'm saying? I'll be back in a few. So y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Yes.
They want more. Crime babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every crew. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 rows to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death ode? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die. You voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war.